Hey everybody, welcome to American Idol Unaired. I'm your host Bennett Shear, and today we have a top 8 edition of American Idol Unaired because we have Oliver Steele on the show. How's it going, man?
I'm doing well, man. It's good to see you.
It's cool to finally sit down and chat. So, you were just in Nashville at that show last night, and you have a show coming up with Haven. So, there's a lot going on. What's the latest?
Got to meet up with Ian. That was fun. I called him yesterday. He's like, "Yeah, I'm at Whataburger, dog." And I'm like, "What are you doing at Whataburger, bro?" He's like, "I'm at Whataburger in Madison. Like Madison, Tennessee is like 25 minutes from me." I was like, "Bro, I am like super close to." He's like, "Yeah, come eat." I didn't know what was going on, and then I get there, and it's like I guess it was like Hawaiians of Middle Tennessee, which is like this group, got together and did like a thing for him. So I showed up there with my guitar. I walked in. Someone goes, "That's our nephew. Nephew, come get a plate. Come eat." I'm like, "All right." So, met up with him yesterday. That was great to see my brother again. And the show was insane, incredible. Really awkward when everyone's like, "Are you singing tonight?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "No, I'm not."
Is Whataburger as good as everybody says it is? Because I've actually never had it. And when I was in college, like everybody's like,
Look,
dude, you've never had it? Like, what's the deal?
look, this is a controversial take. First of all, we've only have two out here that I know of, and they just opened up not too long ago. I'm gonna be real. I don't think it's that good. I think In and Out is way better. I prefer to go
Mm-hmm.
have In and Out back in California or Five Guys. I used to work at Five Guys, and I know that the food's fresh because I worked there. I don't think it's that great.
I think you're spot on about In and Out and Five Guys. I love both of those places. So that makes me wonder too, when you were out in LA, whether it was In and Out or what were some like other hot places to go to eat while you were filming?
I mean, we definitely went to In and Out. I went to In and Out like the first 3 or 4 days that I was there, and like I went with Ian actually. We went one night, and it was so funny. Like I'm standing next to him, and this woman behind the counter like comes up and is just like, "I love your music," and like daps Ian up, and I'm just kind of standing there. I'm like, I was just duet partner. Like I don't actually care. It makes me so happy when so many people show their love to him. Like it just, oh my god, it fills me up with so much pride. Like everywhere we would go, he'd get recognized. But we ate at In and Out. We had Waba a lot. That's what they would feed us on set with Waba or California Pizza Kitchen, and we got tired of all of it. Chipotle was a popular destination. It was like right by our hotel. Starbucks. I think we had Shake Shack a couple times, which is
Mm.
okay. I'll be honest, there weren't a lot of great options around where we were at.
I guess there's so much on your mind anyways when you're just casually filming a TV show that food's probably not on the beginning of your priority list.
Oh no, it's absolutely on the beginning of our priority list because we wake up, we're starving. When we wake up, we're hungry. We're like, when's breakfast? And then we're like, all right, when's lunch? What is for lunch? It is it, someone like me. I'm like, what are we having to eat today?
I'm with you there. So if I'm correct, you were approached to do Idol a couple times before this season, right? Like four or five?
I auditioned on my own a few times. Like
Oh, okay.
I went to what was probably the last big like open casting call. Like you go to a big lineup. That was in Louisville, Kentucky. And each time I would get a call back, but I would never make it all the way to the executives. And it was when I sort of stopped trying and someone submitted my name to their friend who was a scout that they actually reached out to me and said, "We want you to audition. We were given your name." And then, yeah, the rest is kind of history. Like I made it all the way to the audition and I was like, huh, didn't think I'd get this far. So,
You're probably baffled that the time worked out the way that it did because the bond that you had with that group of contestants. Can you imagine yourself on any other season of the show?
no, I cannot. The thing is, we actually had a Zoom call a couple months ago, like right after we were done filming Hawaii. We were in a transitional period of like waiting to come back to LA. So we had a Zoom call and they started off the Zoom call by saying, "Hey guys, we just want you all to know that in the history of the show, we have never had a group of contestants that has shown so much like love and support towards each other. Like you all are so kind and so loving with each other, and we've never seen that." And we just were like, "Yeah, we know." Like, I mean, the thing about it is most of us understood that this is a shared experience that not very many people get to go through in life. Like, first of all, it's an opportunity in and of itself for one person alone. But for all of us to go through this thing together, there's going to be a bond. Like, we are a family. And that was the word we used was family. And the thing is, it goes beyond top 26 because, like, I'm at the show the other night, and who do I see when I come in but John Wayne Hatfield? John Wayne was there, and I was like, dude, what are you doing here? And like, it was just so good to see him. Like, all of us that go through this, like, we just become super close.
Yeah, tell me, like, going back to the auditions, who are some people that stick out to you? Especially because here on American Idol on Air, we talked to the singers that you didn't see. You probably met a lot of unaired contestants and even people that we did get to see, but I bet a lot of names probably come to mind.
I got really close with McKinley Brown's family,
Hmm.
because they auditioned in Nashville, and I did too. And man, Kenley Brown is not only one of the most talented people I've ever met, but her family is just so loving and kind. And her
Hmm.
dad will send texts every day and be like, "Hey, just checking on y'all. Hope y'all are doing good." They were just such a positive, loving force. They made the auditions that much easier to go through. Warren, I met Warren at Nashville auditions, and I remember like meeting him for the first time and just chatting and being like, "Yeah, like we're excited for this experience." And the thing about the auditions is everyone gets caught up in them. And I was kind of one, not to brag on myself, but I was one of the people that tried to tell people, like, hey guys, remember, like, this is not the end all be all of your career. There is a life before Idol, there is a life after Idol, and right now you're in the middle of it. But like, if you get told no, it doesn't mean that you can't sing. That's my big thing that I wanted people to understand was like, that's not what that means. Because there was so many incredible singers at auditions that were told no. That you have to understand, like the show, they're searching for a stylist, they're searching for specific artists who are memorable with their sound, and to be considered one of those is amazing. There's a girl named Crystal Tigney who was incredible, so good. She never got aired. She made it to like I think round one of Hollywood and got cut, but she was just so talented. It's so funny because she was playing my guitar and she fell in love with it. I'm a Breedlove artist. She reached out to Breedlove through messaging and said, "Hey, I met Oliver and I really like these guitars," and they just like offered her an artist contract.
Wow.
Like they signed her to Breedlove. So I was like, wow. And they sent her a guitar. I was like, incredible. So it's so crazy how things turn out. But like, man, the audition seems like a blur now. But like, oh my god, just there, everybody there was just so kind and so incredible and so enthusiastic. There's really only one person that I have beef with, and they won't. We won't name names.
Well, before I forget, because I have thoughts about the audition, but I am obsessed with the track that you and McKinley recorded for Songhouse, Satisfied. If you guys haven't heard that, I know
Oh,
that you can still find it on social media. I'm freaking obsessed with that. Like, it's so good.
thank you. Songhouse is interesting because like not every song is going to get recorded in full. Like that song wasn't. For me, Songhouse is fun because it's like an exercise and it keeps me on my toes. It's like, here's your topic, 30 minutes, go. And it's like that's really really good for the creative muscles. It's like working out your brain. It's like, all right, how can I approach this? What can I do here? What's the prompt? How can I it's just a really good time. I had a lot of fun in that session and I hadn't seen Kinley in a minute when we did that. So it was just really really great to meet up with her again, and it was just a lot of fun. It was a bonding experience. It was cool because a lot of us that were in the top 26 like went there and did a writing session, and there was some drama about it, but like you know what, like it was like a little summer camp away from Idol. It was a lot
Mm.
of fun. We spent a couple nights there in a big like Airbnb, and it was like we would pair up with different producers and see what we come up with, and we would all sit together at the end of the night and be like, this is what we came up with today, and there was just some incredible stuff that came out.
Getting back to the audition, I also remember you saying that they maybe didn't quite show the entire audition because you aired, obviously, but like maybe just either interview footage or moments in the room. Not everything was fully shown. Am I correct?
You are correct. There was a lot of dialogue that was cut, a lot of conversational stuff. They didn't show my first song in full either. They showed half of it and then like cut to a conversation that me and my dad were having because I did a Beatles song, but people don't remember me for that. They remember me for doing Change the World, but I did in my life first before I did that. Um, and they cut a lot of conversation out, but like the first thing that like Katy said when I was done, she just goes, it's giving me Alan Stone vibes, which was kind of funny looking
Yeah.
back for obvious reasons. But Lionel was like, I'm in love with the rasp and the soul that you have. And then Katy was like, I really enjoy your voice. And then I feel like at the end, you were kind of throwing it away a little bit. I just want you to milk it a little bit more. And then they started talking about, oh, like, what else do you have? And can we meet your dad? They asked me about my dad. So, but yeah, there was a little bit of stuff that was, that just wasn't shown.
being the last contestant of the season, it had a lot of impact on viewers. And from your
Yeah,
end, there was such a positive response, right?
it was. I feel like it came back to bite me though because throughout the season, especially in the latter half, I was seeing a lot of comments like, "I wish he'd do a louder song," or "I wish he'd do more of the like yelly, raspy growl thing he did." But like, people just assumed that that was my style, and I have a lot of different influences. But I grew up playing and singing Jack Johnson and John Mayer and James Taylor and Ed Sheeran. I did not grow up doing Stapleton and Allen. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love that style. It is part of who I am, but it is not what like formed me as an artist. So when I started doing different sounding songs on the show, people would complain and be like, "Oh, it's too soft and boring." And I'd be like, "I don't really care. Like this is who I am, and if y'all don't like it, then you won't vote for me." That was my whole thought process because people were like, if he would just pick better songs. But what I discovered was no matter what I picked, there's always going to be someone that complains about it. Someone's not going to be happy about it because, like, I did the Radiohead thing. That specific point in the competition, I didn't have a choice. I had to pick from three different songs, and I chose the one that was, in my mind, the least safe because I knew the other two songs, and I wanted to push myself. And then lo and behold, people are like, it's just it's so funny how things. I'm sorry, I don't mean to ramble. It's so funny how things turn out because when I did my original song, I hated that performance. I was so off and so flat, and it just I was having a bad day. I had had a panic attack that morning. It was really flat. The performance was not that great, but then like everybody in the comments was like, "Oh my god, this song's amazing! Like, wow, this is super cool." And I was just kind of shocked because I didn't feel good about that at all. Then the next week I did Shania and I was super excited. And then like half the response I got was, I don't like the choice. And I'm like, eventually I realized it was like, number one, nobody's ever going to be completely satisfied. Number two, for every 10,000 positive comments, there's like one negative one. And that's the one that will stick out the most every time. So you can't read comments. I feel like I rambled a little bit in my answer,
No,
but
please ramble. I'm just wondering now that as we look back, do you have a favorite of all your performances?
it was definitely Hawaii, honestly. Either one of my duets with Ian, but if I have to pick just me, it was Hawaii, hands down. Because, Jack Johnson is such an important artist in my life that has shaped so much of who I am and the way that I play guitar and write songs and sing. Um, so when you go on the show, eventually they give you a list. It's like this is everything that we know will clear because they have to pay to clear the songs, and then they give you a list that says this is what deny is what won't get cleared. These are artists that deny, and under the section that says artists that deny if they write the song, right underneath James Taylor is Jack Johnson. Going into Hawaii, they're like, what song do you really want to do? And I said, look, I know he's on the deny list, but I really, really have to do Jack Johnson. And they're like, well, I don't know, and I said, look, can you just please reach out and just see what he says? I went to my manager who's friends with Jack's label, and we reached out on our end. And then I heard back from Idol, and they go, hey, great news. We got it cleared. They go, and I said, great. Yeah, I talked to my manager. They go, oh, yeah, don't ever do that again. They're like, please do not do that. We don't want people's toes getting stepped on. I was like, oh, okay. But they cleared it. They're like, great, you can do Jack. So for me, getting to go to, first of all, I'd never been to Hawaii before. It was an incredible experience. Just under like getting to experience some of the culture there. And, obviously I love Disney, but just being there physically, like you get off the plane and the air just smells and feels different. And it's just an incredible, incredible place. Getting to do Jack's song in his native state on the island where he lives in front of a crowd that knows and loves his music felt magical. I was overcome with emotion when I was done, and I went back to the dressing area and just like cried. I was so happy. Like it just felt amazing. And the response that I got from the judges just felt incredible too, especially Lionel. Like he said something to me that was like, what you've done tonight is shown us your vocal identity, and in doing so, like there's no question as to who you are as an artist. And it just felt right. It was just a magical, magical time. I had my older sister there with me, and like me and my older sister, we had never really gotten the chance to just do something like just me and her. So like it was just really, really cool.
Speaking of the judges, I want to talk about some memories that might stick out. I know you've said before that, you have a lot of fond memories of Katy and Luke and Lionel as well. I'm curious what you think.
Luke, I remember, is just being the guy that loves to laugh. Like he will joke about anything. Because when you're in Hollywood Week, we're all in the auditorium together, so it's like we're in there with the judges all day, and they'll talk to us. That's the thing about Lionel that I love. Lionel will be sitting right next to us, and he'll just turn and just immediately start having a conversation with us, just talking to us about our day, about music, and how things are going. Lionel's just such a loving dude. Katy is a little bit more reserved, but that doesn't mean that she's unapproachable. Um, I was a little irritated with the way that she was treated after the show and the things that people were saying because it's all bull crap. Um, Katy's a wonderful person, and I came up to her like day one Hollywood. I was like, Katy, would you mind if I got a photo? And she's like, yeah, sure, babe, just like 1 second, because they were doing like her makeup, and then she's like, all right, let's get that photo. Like she's just super sweet. Um, there was one memory in particular. So if you remember, Hawaii was split up into two performances. Those or two groups performances. Those two groups were split up into 2 days and happened over 2 days. I was group one. So day two, I'm out there in the pit area near there, and I am watching the show. And Katy actually looked over at me, and I looked over and she's going like that. And I thought, there's no way that she's looking at me. There's no way that she's doing that to me. And I like waved at her, and then she winked. And then when she got off stage, I was like, Katy, and I waved, and she looked over and immediately she goes and did it again. She had been making faces at me like while performances were while they were happening. Like she was just the funniest, coolest person behind the scenes. Like Katy's just sweet like that. So another moment with Katy for me, when I got saved. First of all, none of us knew that that was going to happen. I didn't know that they were going to do that. But when that happened, we're all three on stage, and when Ryan was like, "But," and he starts to explain it, Katy was staring daggers like right at me. Like her gaze was fixed on me. So I sort of knew in that moment, but even though I knew, it was still like, the emotion hit. What y'all didn't see was she called my name, and then they zoom in on my reaction, and I look at Katy, and she just gives me a smile and just gives me the biggest wink. And she's just like winks at me. She was always so supportive in her own little way, just like letting you know, like, hey, like I support you and I'm here for you. And I actually spoke to her after the show off camera, and I said, listen, like I want to say thank you because you've been pushing me this whole season to be better and to reach my potential. And I said, and I knew that the song was you. I said, and it's not because it was the not John Mayer choice. I said, I knew the song was your choice because it was a song that I didn't know and that I had no familiarity with. And I knew that you were doing that. And she said, you're absolutely right. She was like, I picked that song for you because I know it was something that you're not familiar with. And I knew it was going to challenge you. And she was like, and you know what? You rose to the challenge beautifully. She's like, I knew it would push you. And that was why I chose the Radiohead one, is because it had nothing to do with, I know it's not Katy because the other two are John Mayer. It was more so like, this is Katy because this is challenging. I don't know this song. I don't know this artist as well as the other two choices. So I think that's the biggest thing for me with Katy, is just how much she would push me without ever having to say, like, I'm pushing you. You know what I mean?
High and Dry was one of my favorite performances. I was there in person. I came that week to see two of the shows. It was so exciting. In fact, it took me a little while to find it, but I zoomed in on the show. I'm there in the pit behind the judges, and when it's the three of you on stage, who's there in the corner but me going, Oliver, Oliver, when they're trying to pick who to save. I was really going hard, so you
Dude,
can't
thank
imagine
you.
how excited I was. But what I loved was sitting there in the pit after they went off the air. I could see you. I think Way gave you a really long hug, and then just that the genuine camaraderie, you could sense it, right? Because there's the contestant lounge, and there you are, and I could just see how emotional you were. What was going through your mind after you got saved?
I'll be honest, I was having a really rough time
Mm.
because at that point was when I was starting to see the negative comments of like people saying that I was boring, that I was sleepy, that I didn't choose the right songs. And it took me a while to understand that it had nothing to do with any of that. It was more so just my style is different than what people want on television. They want big, loud rock and roll. Like that's what they want. Unless you're someone like Ian, who's like style and loving nature, just like transcends, because Ian does a lot of similar stuff that I do. in that moment, I was just overcome with this sense of, oh my God, I almost went home. Because much like Ian, when he talked to Adam Lambert, I was not thinking about I'm going to lose. I was thinking about I have to say goodbye. And
Mm.
that is the most, I don't care what anyone says, past or present or future, that is the most difficult part of being on the show is having to say goodbye to the people that you meet, not just in contestants, but crew as well. Like everyone, we fall in love with everybody there. And it's just hard. You spend 2 months with these people or half a year with these people in my case, and then all of a sudden like you don't see them anymore.
I know that you have close bonds with everybody, but we all know this special, in some cases, maybe even rare bond that you formed with Ian in particular. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you could break it down for me, what was it about this contestant who went on to win? Kind of explain to me how you met and why he's so special to you.
Well, for the record, I knew Ian was going to win, and I called it in Hollywood. And you have to understand, I said that, and I will brag about it. Like I said this before I knew him, before I knew his story, before I knew what happened with his dad, before I knew anything. Because the thing is what people don't understand and what they don't think about is when we're doing Hollywood Week, unless it's like certain, or no, not even, we don't know what each other's auditions were like
Or if
because
they're going to air in some cases.
none of us were in the room for it, so we don't actually see it until it all airs months later. But what the thing with Ian was is I started singing Island Style. A lot of people think that he taught me that song. Ian didn't teach me that song. I knew Island Style already because of my love of Jack Johnson, because there's a version that he does live with John Cruz, who wrote the song, and Jackson Brown. When Ian heard me doing it, he chimed in and started harmonizing with me about it, and we just struck up a conversation about music and stuff. And he started telling me like, yeah, my dad was the one who raised me on music, and my dad was the same for me. The crazy thing is Ian never mentioned to me my dad passed away. He never told me that until I found out after the fact, after our duet. I didn't even know during the duet that had happened to him. So we just, when I heard his voice, every voice I heard in the competition was incredible. But there is a stark difference between being an incredible singer and being unmistakably recognizable. And then beyond that, to be recognizable, when you listen to Ian sing, or at least when I do, I hear the love that he has for his father, for his people, for his friends, for his culture. It goes into every song he sings, no matter what song he's singing. It's this love, this pure love of music and of people. And it's identifiable from the first note. He just loves to sing, and he loves music, and he loves people. And that was the difference with Ian never once throughout the whole competition thought about himself. I mean, he would worry that he wasn't good enough, like he had doubts about himself, but he was never of the mindset of like I need to win or I need to move forward. It was always like, oh, I really don't want to say goodbye, which is just, you don't meet a lot of people like that in life. And for me, I guess there were a lot of things that went into our bond. It was our shared love of music, the fact that both of us had such similar stories with our dads. And a lot of people don't know, but like when Ian's dad passed away, his father was on dialysis. Midway through this competition, after we went home from Hawaii, we were on a break, and I flew out to California to go meet with some friends and to see my ex, who I was dating at the time. And right after I left, I get a call. It's like, hey, dad's in the hospital. He's unresponsive. He is basically like, they didn't know what was going on. He was just in the ER. I had just spoken to him. He's like, yeah, I'm going to be okay. I'll let you know. And then I never heard. And then my sister called me, like, you might have to come home. My dad was out for a while. We didn't know what was going to happen with him. And then it turns out like he was having problems with his kidneys. And then lo and behold, I find out like he's going to have to go on dialysis, which is what happened to Ian's dad. When Ian found out, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional.
No,
When
please.
Ian found out, he called my dad and would just talk to my dad while he was in the hospital. Like he would talk to him for like hours. And Ian told me, he's like, "Yeah, dude, I hate talking on the phone, but I love talking to your dad." That's what he said. In fact, that dude, I called him like yesterday morning, no answer. And then my dad's like, "Yeah, I talked to Ian earlier." And I'm like, "What the, like, bro?" But yeah, that was a really hard time for me. And Ian supported me in a way that goes beyond being a friend. It's like that's a brother, you know. He understands what's going on, and he knows how hard it is. And he told me, he's just like, "It's not too late." That was the biggest thing he said, was, "It's not too late for your dad. Like this can be turned around." He's just a loving guy. Like, like, man, I'm sorry. Like,
Don't apologize.
yeah, like I don't know, man. Like he just, I've never met someone so young and so selfless. I was not that selfless when I was 18. Like I'm 25. I'll be 26 here soon in July. And it goes beyond talent with him. It's just who he is as a person. And my wish for him is that he understands how loved he is. Universally, I knew Ian was going to win. I called it. And a lot of people were talking about, "Oh, no, it's going to be another country guy." And that is no offense to Colin and no offense to Megan, because I love them both dearly. But there was, what I saw that I made me know he would win, was anywhere we would go, people loved him and wanted to meet him and would come up to him. Like I took him to a show. I'm friends with someone who manages this artist named Jeremy Passion and Gabe Bunduck, and they're like Filipino American artists, and they're incredible. They have a really good fan base. That show was packed. We went, and when we went inside, like we couldn't step 2 steps without someone wanting to talk to Ian or take a picture with him. Then we went outside after the show, and I think I posted a video of this. He had people lining up just to take pictures with him, and I was just like, it's not even his show. It's not even his show, and this is how loved he is. He exemplifies the best in us as people, and he never ever asks for too much of anything. He's always just so giving and so kind, and I will forever ever love that man. I absolutely will. I have his back no matter what. I'm just thankful for him, man.
We got to witness a lot of that love and that brotherhood and the support you've given him. I mean, looking at the Hollywood Week duet, how you got him through that performance, that's one moment that comes off the top of my head.
You know what? He got through that performance. I did what I could. You know what I mean? Like they cut some of the dialogue. Like I got on the mic and I was like, "Listen, dude. Like if your dad were here," and I didn't know his dad had passed away in this moment, so I'm glad I didn't say something stupid. But I was like, "If your dad were here, I guarantee he would say exactly what I'm telling you, which is that guitar does not define you. It is a tool that he gave to you because he knows how great you are." And the funny thing is, I will admit, when he taped his lyrics to that guitar, my idea. I was like, "Bro, tape them to your guitar." He's like, "I don't want to get in trouble." I said, "I guarantee you're not going to get in trouble. I guarantee they won't care. In fact, I bet they'll love it."
And it wasn't the only time he shared the stage, which leads me to ask what Ed Sheeran night was like. Ed Sheeran and Alanis Morissette.
Man, so here's the thing about, I don't know if you remember the reaction video from them announcing Ed
I
Sheeran, and
was
how
there in the crowd. You guys went fucking nuts.
I freaked the hell out. And here's the thing. Actually, there's still tape on the wall over there from the first poster I ever hung on the wall, which was an Ed Sheeran poster.
Wow.
I don't have it anymore, but I used to have a loop station because I wanted to be like Ed. The first song
Mm-hmm.
I ever learned on guitar was an Ed Sheeran song, and I have studied his craft, his songwriting, his philosophy on songwriting, and his story ever since I was like, ever since I heard him for the first time when I was in middle school. Like he to me is just one of the best and greatest songwriters of all time. Um, the thing about Alanis is, Alanis for me was intimidating because I don't really listen to Alanis, but I absolutely know who she is and I know how impactful she is and what she's done for women, particularly. So meeting her, I was really scared, but like she talks to you and she just instantly melts away that fear and just wants to connect with you. Um, but the reason why we didn't get a reaction for Atlantis is because we all already knew that Atlantis was going to be one of the judges. Because what happens is, like, I think it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks before that performance, we get an email in the middle of the night that says, "Hey guys, please choose 3 songs on this list in order of preference and have them turned in by tomorrow at the end of the day." I look at the list, every single song on the list is an Atlantis song. So we were like, "Oh, okay." We're like, something is coming, like a big move is happening with the jet. Like Atlantis is going to be there. They're either going to be a mentor, and it turned out they were a judge. But we knew that Atlantis was going to be there. We did not know anything about Ed. We had no idea. We didn't know. But when Ryan said, "I'm getting shivers," I knew instantly, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I like I lost it because that man's like, it's like Ed Sheeran, Jack Johnson, John Mayer, and my dad are like the 4 biggest influences on me as a musician. And to have met one of them and performed his song in front of him was just, oh my god, it was just incredible. And he gave me the best advice after the show. Like I caught up to him, I ran up to him, I was like, "Ed, I just want to say thank you because you got me through high school." And he said to me, he said, "Listen, mate, like you're super talented." He's like, "You've gotten this far for a reason. Please don't leave here thinking that, it's the end." He's like, "This is just the beginning." And he said, "Go play all the shows, go do the festivals, go do the parties, everything." And he said, "And don't rush your record. Take your time on the record because you're too talented to not take your time."
Mm.
And he was just the sweetest guy. Like Ed is he's as cool as you think he is when he's there in person in front of you. Just so cool and down to earth. We chatted about tattoos and stuff. Like, yeah, Colin. Oh yeah, that's another story. Colin wanted me to get a tattoo with him, and I was back and forth, and he's like, "I'll pay for it. I'll pay for it." I was like, "Dude, I don't know, man." I told Ed, and he goes, "Mate, get me a pen, and I'll write it on your arm, and you can get it tattooed." And unfortunately, I couldn't find the pen.
Mm. Well, one other artist I want to ask about that you got to meet is Jellyroll.
Man, Jelly's cool as hell. Like he took me out to me and Mary Beth and EM like 2 nights in a row in LA. It was like, "Yeah, let me take you out to eat." And like we're out to eat, and I'm like, I'm looking at the steak on the menu, and I'm not this guy, but I was like, "Oh, it's the most expensive thing on the menu. The steak looks really, really good." And I said, "Jelly, do you care if I order this?" And he goes, "I don't give a damn if you order 5 of them, dude. It's tax deductible." He's like, "You can get whatever you want." I'm like, "All right, bro." Um, Jelly, oh my god, that dude is so cool and is experiencing a wave of success that is just like I see that and I'm like, I want to be that successful one day. And he keeps his people close around him, and he knows how to give back. And he kept his word. He was like, "When you come home and you have your in ears, because we get to keep our ears because we get custom molded for those." He's like, "Come to my show at Marathon, and you will sing with me. Like I'm gonna have you up with me." And then like the other night, like he had me sing that Shania song. He's like, "You're gonna do this." He's like, "And then you're gonna sing "Need the Favor" with me." Um, and then Billboard posted it on their page, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like he didn't have to do that. That was a night honoring him. He had just won an award from Billboard, along with like Ashley McBryde and like Ernest. Like they all won awards, and he took time out of his performance, out of his short set because it wasn't a very long one, to allow me to grace the stage and not only sing with him, but sing by myself too. He didn't have to do that, and he did. He's the coolest guy on the planet.
Any other memories from finale night? Big night, I bet.
I just remember it was so funny because we're standing over in the lounge area, and like James Blunt is right there. He's like, "Hey, it's nice to meet you." Like I meet him. Ian's mom, Lily, is there, and like his family's there, and I'm waiting for the result. And when they called his name, I kind of, it's a little blurry, but I just remember just screaming to the high heavens because I knew in my heart that he needed to win and he deserved to win and he was going to win. I broke my bracelet, my tiger's eye bracelet spilled all over the place. I didn't care. Like I was just elated. And I said, "All of you better, if you're not Eam's family, you better get out of my way because I will be the first person on stage after his family." And I was actually the first person to run up on the stage, and I just remember the feeling of standing there beside my brother and all my fellow contestants, like all of them, just celebrating this win because we all knew it was meant to be. and Ian like tossing me the mic while in the middle of his finale. But like this is again, Ian just loves people and music. He doesn't have to do that. It's his finale performance, and he puts me on the mic, and then puts Tyson and puts Colin on the mic, and he's like, haha, like laughs with Colin. Like I don't think there has ever been a winner like Ian on the show. I don't think there's ever been a contestant like him on the show. And being able to celebrate him in his life and his performances and his story was just the highlight of that night. It was the moment that I was waiting for. Um, it was just great. It was phenomenal. I will never forget exactly how that felt to hear his name called and to just see the confetti fly running up on stage to come hug him and then putting my kukui nut lei on him right at the end. Like, yeah, just an incredible night.
I'm sad it's over in the sense of like every year you wonder what's going to happen next season, but this was just a special time in the show's history that you're a part of, and your performances, like particularly, like I said, High and Dry was one of my favorites. Change the
Thank
World,
you.
also one of my favorites. Seeing you up there with Jelly, another moment
That
that I really
that would have
enjoyed.
been Change the World would have been my finale song if I went all the way to the final.
I'm telling you, like one of my favorite audition moments of the entire series, 21 seasons.
Well, thank you. I mean, you know, this season in my mind will go down as one of the best seasons in history. Just because of the love and camaraderie. And we're in a special day and age where we all have social media and you get to see what it's like for us when we're not on camera and we all genuinely love each other. Like there's no disdain. I hope that season 22 is the exact same way and that people just fall in love with each other because that's why I do these shows and audition for them. It has nothing to do with the title, it has nothing to do with the win. Part of it is the exposure. It's like I want to get myself out there, but then part of it is just like you meet amazing people with amazing stories, and that's the highlight for me, genuinely.
This is like a cliche to like say, oh my gosh, I know this person that's obsessed. My mom is obsessed with you. She's so jealous right now. She is
Really?
like, "Oh my god, I'm so jealous. I can't meet Oliver Steele." And she was screaming in the crowd when we were watching. I mean, she
Oh,
is like obsessed.
that's that's so sweet. Tell her I said thank you. That really genuinely means a lot. Like honestly, it warms my heart when people say things like that to me.
I am too, man. We both felt that your audition really woke things up. The fact that that was what led into the next round of the competition, it was like, wow, this is a show. Like to have you
It,
closing that out, you know
it,
what I mean?
it was crazy because I want to tell a little story of how that happened. So when they're doing auditions, it's like a course of like 5 or 6 days. So like we're in a hotel for that entire time, and there's a couple of days where you're just not doing anything, and they're like, "We'll call you if we need you," and they never call you. I was supposed to audition. It was like it took place over the course of like Wednesday through Monday, or no, Wednesday through Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. No, it was Monday. I don't know. Anyway, I was supposed to audition like that Friday or that Saturday. There was a lot of rumors that like things kept getting pushed forward and stuff, and then finally like Izzy, who no longer is one of the producers on the show, she actually got a new job. But we all love Izzy. Shout out to Izzy. She comes to me. She's like, "Hey Oliver, you've had a really good attitude. Do you mind if we move your audition to the final day?" Which I think it was a Monday, and I'm like, "Yeah, sure, sure, that's absolutely fine." That day comes. Me and my dad are in the waiting area. The day's getting longer and longer and longer, and I'm starting to have this feeling. I'm like, they're 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 gonna make me go last. So I come to Amy, who is like talent coordinator. We all love Amy. Bye. We love Amy. Under and I'm like, hey, Amy, she's like, sweetheart, unless you have something super important, I need you to get out of my face right now. I love you, but I can't. I'm like, Amy, my dad's having a rough time getting around. He needs to lie down. Like, can you at least give me some idea of when I'm gonna audition? She's like, okay, that's valid. Let me get back to you. She comes up to me and she goes, so here's the scoop. She's like, you're gonna be towards the end of the day. So we're gonna send your dad back to the hotel and we'll get him when we need him. Hours pass. And then this is like, I think it's an hour and a half before the end of the night, and I get a call for rehearsal. The way it works is you do different things throughout the day, the weekly. It's like, all right, we need you to come and do a vocal rehearsal. They'll have one. Like the first time it happened, I did one, and then I went back downstairs. They go, hey, we need you to do another rehearsal. I said, why? And they go, Megan wants to talk to you. Megan, not Megan Daniel, but Megan is the executive. So I had to do a rehearsal in front of her. So when they pulled me down for a third rehearsal on the final day, I was like, why am I doing this? I get down there and a producer named Nancy is there and she's like, hey, I just want to talk with you and see how you're doing mentally. And I'm like, why? She's like, well, I don't know if you've heard, but we have decided that you are going to be the final audition. And I was like, no, I didn't know that. Um, that's really nerve wracking, especially because one of my friends, shout out to Myreek, I love you. He's an incredible singer, literally gave me the coat off his back. I'm not even joking, like literally, because I was cold. He didn't get through. Incredible singer, did not make it through. I told her, I was like, I'm just kind of freaking out right now a little bit. She's like, what can I do to make sure that you are out of here, my head, and just in the zone? And I was like, I want to know where my dad is and I want to know how he's doing. They're like, we have him here. He's down here in this room. You guys are going to go do a little video thing together. And then it's time. So I found out literally an hour before my audition that I was the final person to audition. They did it on purpose. They moved me to the last on purpose. And that's why I say, like, for some people throughout the competition, you kind of know who's being looked at more than others. That's not always true for everybody because there were people in the top 26 that didn't get any airtime up until that top 26 time. So that doesn't mean that you won't go far, but it does mean that there are certain people that they will look at and go, this is really, like, this is a story. Like, this is something unfolding, and they want to focus on that. And for whatever reason, like, the story with my dad for them was like, they were like, we want to capture this. The awkward part was when you're done, like, I walked out, but because I was the last one, there was nobody there. There were no other contestants waiting. It was just me, and it was a very quiet hallway. And I'm just standing there with my ticket and my dad, and I'm like, well, this is quiet. It's like,
How have you been feeling since the season wrapped? What have you been up to last couple weeks? Break it down for me because I know it's an adjustment.
it's been some ups and downs. I'm not gonna lie. It's been kind of hard. Like, there's a feeling of like, like I said, you get to know these people over half a year. You go on an incredible vacation to Hawaii together. You're all hanging out together. Um, some of us, because we share dressing rooms, some of us are stuck with each other all that. Like, we see each other constantly on the daily. I mean, we were in LA for 2 months flat, if not three, and then all of a sudden, it's done. Like, you don't see these people anymore. So it's like that was really, for me, it didn't hit me until I came home because I actually stayed in LA for at least a couple weeks. I was staying with my best friend who was just awesome to be around, and we recently started dating. Um,
Congrats.
thank you. Yeah, I love them with my whole heart. We've known each other since we were like 12, but I was hanging out with them and just spending as much time with them as I could, and then right before I was about to fly home, I got the call from my dad that someone had shot my uncle. Um,
So sorry.
I appreciate it. He was just a light, man. Like, he was an incredible person. So like, I had to come home, and the night after the day after the night I flew home, I had to go to a funeral. Um, and then I immediately got sick, and I'm actually still recovering from that. But there's a feeling of like, what now, that hits you, and you don't know where to go or what to do. And it's like, should people be calling me? Should I be calling people? Should I be getting invitations to do things? And like, I've had a few people like, we come play this show, come play this gig or whatever, but like nothing on a grand scale. I get people every day from Hawaii that want me to come out there. It's so funny. Like, I've gained this following, this community in Hawaii. They're like, you are Hanai, which means adopted. So like, you are an adopted son of Hawaii. Like, you need to come here. But there's this feeling of like being stuck, is what I described it as, where it's like, I feel like I'm not moving fast enough, or things aren't happening the way they're supposed to. But by the same token, you don't know what's supposed to happen. Like, you don't know how that's supposed to progress. I think it's just coming down for me escalation, this roller coaster that is the show, this high energy all the time, like coming down from that, you feel like I think it's less like I'm not getting enough offers and more so like I'm used to being high energy on demand now, and it's not that anymore. It's chill. Like life is settled, at least a little bit. Um, and then it's just hard not being able to see like my brothers and sisters that I made on the show, especially Ian. Like it's hard to talk. We don't get to talk a lot because he's so busy. Um, you know, so those rare moments when we do get to talk, I cherish them. But yeah, I won't lie. It's been a little difficult. Like it's been a rough patch, but I got through it by the grace of God and the help of my friends and family that are here for me. Like I got home and shout out to Shelby and Cameron. Immediately they were like, "Let us cook you dinner. Come over, come spend time with us." Shelby and Cameron actually let me sleep on their couch back in 2021 when I had nowhere to go. They've been there since like just forever, and we got to play Comic Con because of my friend. I have a friend who's a voice actor named Jason Marsden. He was voice of Max Goof and Chester from Fairly Odd Parents and Haku from Spirited Away, and he was like, "Come play Comic Con again this year." And I got to meet like the voice of Master Chief and stuff. Like that was super cool. It's just been difficult though. Like there's been, me and my dad. Like my dad, I love my dad so much, but it's hard watching him struggle. And when my uncle passed, like just for some clarity, like he's not actually blood related to me, but he's one of those people that's been around in my life so long that he is quote unquote Uncle Ernie,
Of
my dad's
course.
best friend. The only thing harder than losing him is watching my dad break. It's really, really hard, man. Um, but you know what? Like life goes on, and I don't know what the future holds, and I'm not supposed to. None of us are supposed to know. And that's something that brings me peace when I think about it. Like the fact that I have made so many wonderful friends. It's so funny because it's like Haven's show. I was gonna go to it anyways. I was just gonna show up and support her, and then I got that call. It's like, please come and be a part of it. It's like that's a blessing. That's a friendship and a blessing. Um, I'm just thankful, man. Like it's hard, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I need every person who hears this, whoever listens to this, like to know that, like whatever you're going through, there's ups and downs and there's challenges, but like we get through it by staying productive and just by loving each other. Like that's the most important thing because you don't know when someone's gonna go. So cherish those moments and just tell people that you love them. It doesn't matter if you're related by blood or not. Just tell people that you love them because that's honestly right now what this world needs a little bit more of.
Whether you get to be on stage performing or you're alone in your room writing, music must get you through all the ups and downs. How is music there for you right now?
Um, Music gives me a voice when I don't know how to express myself. Music allows me to translate pain that I don't know how to explain or express. It's a universal form of communication that allows us to understand feelings so complex that it's hard to speak them into words. Music has saved my life 10 times over. And on top of that, has brought me friendships, brotherhood, loved ones, opportunity, meaning, and purpose. Music for me is all I want to do with my life is music. That's it. You know, it's a healing. It's music heals. It heals and it communicates. And it's a very powerful, special thing. It's why it's found in nature. I mean, birds sing to each other. You know what I mean? Whales and dolphins. It sounds cheesy, but like they sing to each other. It's like music is a gift. It is a gift. It is healing. It gives purpose. It allows you to feel pain in a way that can be healthy. And it brings people together. That's the thing about music. That's no matter what kind of music you listen to, music was meant to bring people together. Nobody created music for one person and one person to listen to only. And that's what I love about it.
You've experienced so much life from the highs to the lows in a pretty short period of time. I know Ed Sheeran said, "Don't rush the record," but whenever that record comes out, I can't imagine what you're going to write about and the feelings that you're going to evoke and how you're going to be able to touch people with the stories you're going to tell.
You know, I don't know exactly what it'll look like. I've got things that are stored away that people haven't heard that I'm like debating on. And then I've got ideas that I've barely written down. I mean, Too Soon started off as a sentence that I said out loud. So, and I get thoughts popping in my head all the time that I write down. So, I don't know what it's going to look like, man, but it's going to be me. That's the only thing that I can say confidently is that it will be me. There will be nobody telling me how to write this album or how to write this song or in what way to record it. And that's the most important thing that I want to stress, like to everybody that's listening or to anyone, especially that wants to go on the show. Like I had someone come up to me outside of the Idol show the other night and said, "Hey, I just got a call back to audition." And I said, "Listen, if you make it through, be yourself. Be yourself every time you step on the stage because you will not regret it." You know, I think that it's just this album or whatever I put out, it's going to be me wholeheartedly 100%. And that's what brings me the most excitement. It's like, I can't wait to see what people think of this.
Advice for artists in general, because I'm also kind of curious. There's musicians that do these competitions that don't. Any sort of general words of wisdom for people that might not necessarily be a part of American Idol, but just who are kind of out there doing their thing?
Know your worth, know your value, know that your time is valuable and that other people's time is valuable. But always, always, always know your worth because when you have something to offer to the world and it's valuable, like you deserve to be compensated accordingly, whether it's financially or emotionally or whatever. And everybody has some type of value to put out there. Understand that it's okay to not know something because I struggle with anxiety and I struggle with like thinking of worst case scenarios, but like it is okay to not know what's going to happen and take a chance. Taking a chance, you never know where it's going to lead you. Just talk to people. A lot of people struggle with that, but like now more than ever, and I don't mean like tag, like literally call someone or meet with them face to face and just talk to people, introduce yourself to somebody because you just don't know. Like you don't know what will come of that.
And I think that applies too to anybody who wants to go for the show to just kind of put yourself out there, right?
For the past 2 years, I have been going to open mics and jams in Nashville, rubbing shoulders and making friends with incredible people like Corey Wong or Matthew Schultz from KG Elephant. You just don't know who's in the room. And like this group called Pitch Meeting, nonprofit organization, focuses on artist development. They've changed my life. They're taking me with them to Bonnaroo again. So see y'all at Bonnaroo. And I met a keys player named Josh Blaylock at Pitch Meeting the first time I went. Josh Blaylock had a friend who was a scout for Idol, and they asked him for a male vocalist, and he immediately gave them my name. And the rest is history. But I met Blaylock because I'll never forget. It's so clear in my mind. I was working at the chocolate factory in East Nashville, and my friend comes in and says, "You should go to Pitch Meeting tonight." I had never been, and I said, "Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to go." And he said, "No, I really think you should go." And I went, and that was where I met Josh that night. He was playing house keys that night, and I performed Too Soon for the very first time on a stage that night. And Josh ended up playing keys on the actual like recording, and ended up being the one that got me on Idol. You don't know what's out there until you physically put yourself in that space and talk to people.
I think that's an important lesson for all of us with whatever our profession is. When somebody says, "Hey, man, hey, dude, hey, girl, hey, whoever, you should do this tonight." I don't know. Do it. Just listen. Listen to your friend. They have your best interest at heart. So just go and do whatever your friend is telling you to do, damn it, right?
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Ah, Oliver, man, it's been such a pleasure. Is there anything else that you want to plug or social media, anything that you just kind of want to put the word out about before we head out?
Follow me on Instagram at Oliver Steele Music. Follow the Pitch Meeting on Instagram. Look for me at Bonnaroo. I'll be with the Pitch Meeting group at the nonprofit area. Follow the Idle Unaired Instagram page
Thank you.
and just be kind to people. Be kind to others. It's the biggest thing. Be kind.
Like you said, we need more of that in the world, right?
Yes, we do.
If you enjoyed this conversation, like he said, and thank you very much, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Island Nerd Podcast. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already on YouTube or wherever you're listening, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Please leave us a review. Really helps us out. Thank you so much. And Oliver, thank you for being a part of American Idol Unaired.
My friend, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.